ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and cats and kittens. Welcome back to the podcast, the live stream edition, and thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the Podocasts, the very first fully decentralized live stream in the cosmos. The Podocasts strives to be your home for rational crypto news and objectivity, leaving emotion at the door and talking about what we like, why we like it, and where we see it going. We are not offering financial advice. We are telling you what we do, and that is all. We don't slow down. We don't let up. Full speed is our only speed. I am your host, Scott, pragmatic investor who has won and lost fortunes. And joining me, as always, is the greatest producer of all time, Belle. How are we doing tonight, Belle?
You know what? I'm excited for this one tonight.
You know, I love working with Eric. Eric's a pro, and he's been doing this a long time too, man. So it's just nice when I don't have to carry anything. Eric will just run with it here. So anyway, guys, here at the podcast, we have a tendency to talk about what others are not talking about and bringing the focus onto use case cryptos because, as we know, these are what drive the market and bring innovation to a world that desperately needs it. The status quo, it's no longer acceptable. It's time for a technological revolution. Welcome to crypto and welcome to the Podocasts. Okay, so we got a fun one here tonight. And I think you guys are going to get some takeaways out of it. I sure hope you do. Tonight, we are hosting Eric from Archway, Astrovault, and formerly Secret Code Podcast. Eric is here to talk about Archway with you guys and get some questions answered if you have them. And you guys know how we do it here, right? This is just as much your interview as it is my interview, and we prefer to defer. Val, did you hear that? I made a rhyme.
Yeah, you rhymed.
We want to defer to you guys whenever possible. So if you've been following my videos lately, I think it's pretty clear that I have a problem with the cosmos right now. And that problem, it's particularly with the abundance of L1s that we have. Now, it's not any L1 in particular that I take issue with. The market is going to sort those out. The issue I have is that the bulk of everything that we have in the cosmos is places to build, but nothing being built. Now, Emery and I chat about this a lot, and I mean a lot, because it matters. And we both take a very long view as far as development goes. Now, Emery told me that I was an idealist who is both right and wrong at the same time. So I thought I'd use my little monologue time here to explore that a bit. I chatted up with Emery so much because it is nothing personal for him. It's academic. So when he calls me an idealist, there's no malice in it. But it makes me take apart what he said and why he said it. And I think I got this one. I don't even know if Emery's watching tonight. He was going to be on the stream. He had some internet issues. But I am an idealist. I mean, guilty. Here, living proof. Guys, we're streaming on a cache. All right? That's idealism making me do this. I could do it for free on YouTube. But I said, no. Let me pay my own servers. Let me show that there is a better way. And here we are. So, yes, I'm guilty. Now, I try to see the market the way it is. I'm a pragmatist, and I try to invest in the way that I would like to see it a year from now. Now, that part doesn't make me an idealist. That makes me an investor. I mean, just same as you guys. The thing that makes me an idealist, and I'm not sure if Emery will agree or not, is that the products that I want to be invested in, they either don't exist yet or I am simply misunderstanding the entire market. Now, there are lots of things I want to be invested in. For example, I can say that here. We're on our porn. Yeah, I want to be invested in Web3 pornography. Now, it's not because I love porn, but it's because the bulk of the world does and I can profit on it. I want to be invested in Web3 poker, not because I'm a huge fan, even though I really am. I love to play poker, but because it is such a natural fit for Web3 and because I can profit on it. I'm an idealist because these are products that have long-term profitability through means other than speculation, and this is important. I'm an idealist because we have not, nor do I believe we will ever get past a traditional business model. And what I mean by that is for a business to function and remain a business, it can effectively be simplified on a single piece of paper. One side of that paper will say income. The other side will say expenditure. Now, as long as income exceeds expenditures, it will remain a business. And don't attack. I know I simplified this, all right? But I'm sure you get the point. When it has more going out than it has coming in, it's not long for this world. I'm an idealist because whatever is being done in the legacy world can be done in the Web3 world, and it's cheaper to do it here. But I want to say I'm an idealist because what I want and what is are different. At the moment, I am absolutely wrong. In 20 years, I will be right. So right and wrong at the same time. Now the big question is this the hill I am ready to die on? Because every time I think I am, I get right back into the game. I am shorting tokens because they are shortable. I'm leveraging a position because the time to do it is right. I'm playing the crypto game with the rules I have and not the rules I want. The greedy capitalist in me, he just says, you know what, scalp. Greater fool theory, gift goods. The idealist in me says it has to be about more than money. Now, I'll admit I struggle with this, and I haven't decided if this is the hill that I'm ready to die on. Even though, again, I'm a 100%. It costs us money to stream. All right, we lose money by doing this. So I can say that I'm not sure if it's the hill I'm ready to die on, but I can see the hill from where I'm standing. Just food for thought on this one, guys. So we have Eric here, guys, and he's going to have his say on why I am wrong about everything, and as I am a good host, I'll take it. But he's also here to tell us why Archway is different, why it is the next generation of what we have now. And I'm telling you flat out, Eric is great on the mic, so we're going to have a good chat. Folks, I was going to cut to break, but you know what? I'm feeling it. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Eric, are you with us, sir?
I am, Scott.
Excellent, man. Well, it's your mic, man. You're on the big screen, babe. Tell me this. Why is Archway better? Yep.
I know you're looking forward to me coming on the show and telling you why you're wrong, why this, why that, and unfortunately, you are spot on. And I'm just going to help give you more and more terms to understand exactly how right you are. And Archway is the first layer one besides Ethereum that actually has something in the revenue column that actually sells something.
Okay, you know what? Do you want me to follow on, or do you want to get your hill spill on? Because you know right now my attack is going to be, what are you selling?
Block space.
Okay, explain.
So Web3's gotten cute. They can print magic money, and so they've completely gotten rid of basic business models, exactly like they're bringing up, revenue and expenditure. And so everyone can have giant teams with huge 6-7 figure salaries and just really high runway with absolutely no revenue and be like, oh, this makes sense because we're inventing newness, and act like whatever's new just replaces thousands of years of monetary philosophy and like trial and error. And no, we know as things get more and more efficient, they get less speculative. And they get more down to what the actual business models are. The money has to come from somewhere. You can't print money. Only the Fed can do that. But what Archway's doing through burning the gas fees and having the first fee market in all of the Cosmos ecosystem is, as the demand organically rise, it lowers the supply. You counter the inflation with deflation. You already have lower inflation than the rest of Cosmos. Very similar to what Ethereum did with EIP 1559. Which is the London hard fork, where Ethereum burns 100% of their gas. What's nice about Archway is, since we have the better tech of Cosmos, we can actually sell more block space than Ethereum can. So we have the better tech, we can sell it And now we commoditize it less than Ethereum does, where they burn 100%. We burn 50% to simplify it, and give the other 50% to devs. And by doing that, I mean, if we sell twice as much block space than Ethereum does, then we burn twice as much Arch as they do ETH. And we could potentially be deflationary.
Okay, so let me ask you this: if you're burning the Arch, if you're burning 50% of it and you're giving 50% of it to devs, why would I invest in it? Because it kind of sounds like that's 100% of all the money. So what's in it for Scott? I think it's a fair question, babe. You opened this one.
That's it. So that's for the gas spent. So if you think that it is going to be highly deflationary, then grabbing it sooner and then even earning staking rewards is drastically outpacing the inflation. Like they talk about like negative yield, and that like if you stake Stargaze, inflation is actually higher than your APR because they're not giving 100% to stakers. Yep. Our inflation is 75% currently to the validators and stakers, 25% to developers. So developers can actually earn more than the 50% spent on gas. Plus, they can also charge their own fees for it. But for the consumer, like the token is access to all the applications built out. It is like first and foremost for the utility of the token. If you want to speculate on it, then you can see, oh, we're getting more developers, we're getting more applications, the demand for those tokens going higher, and the supply is not really increasing very much because they have low inflation and higher and higher and higher deflation.
All right, so I got another follow-on to this. Do we want to do it this way, dude, or do you just want to go ahead and have a go? I'm cool with either way, man. I look very, very nice tonight, so I'm cool just standing here and being pretty. One, I owe you an apology because on the thumbnail I put Astroport instead of Astrovault. And I'm sorry, man. All I had to do was scroll up in the text and I would have seen it, but I didn't catch it. I'm sorry. I'm busy. So that's a big miss, guys, but it's Astrovault. I will repair the thumbnail before we actually post the video live. All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a follow-on question here because I think it's important, and I think it feeds into exactly what I was just talking about. One of the things that did intrigue me about Archway a long, long time ago is exactly what you said, as far as devs being better compensated for building on Archway as opposed to building on other chains, and I happen to agree with that. But here's the very important follow-on questions, I think. Do you have these devs? Are people building? Are people talking about it? Are they ready to go? Or are we building them all and putting out a for lease sign? Which way is it going to be here?
That is a great question.
I think so.
especially as the Archway community is pretty small, the Archway dev community is huge. So devs are buzzing. Tons and tons of applications are being built. Whether we can bring in enough people to use them, we'll see. But from what I've seen, it's better apps than exist anywhere else in Web3, let alone in the Cosmos ecosystem.
Give me an example of some of the apps that are going up there, non-financial. You know where I'm at on this. Non-financial apps that are going up on there.
Can't give you names yet, but an example is DAO tooling / NFT Mint, an NFT marketplace. So think of kind of like DAO as well as maybe Stargaze, but better than each of them and combined in one application, built sustainably on Archway. So that should be coming, if not day one mainnet, very soon after. That's well built out right now. Okay, so that's something similar to something else that exists elsewhere. So, well, yeah, I know. I'm not trying to pick here, but you get where I'm going with this. Is there something unique? What's unique? We're excited to see what people will do that's unique. What is unique is that things that are currently done can finally be done sustainably. As you mentioned about having something in the revenue column to match the expense column. Right now, a lot of things that are very important don't have the revenue column. You saw Confio shut down public goods because things just are not properly economically set up. Well, now something like oracles, like if an oracle's based on Archway, we've talked to quite a few of the top Oracle leaders, and they're using our adapt calculators to see like, oh wow, with all these things querying us, like, wait, we're earning like hundreds of thousands or like millions of dollars, and usually we're earning nothing and having to charge. I'm like, yes, you are. Like you have that right to this. Right now, this is all just being like refurbished back to validators, and it's just a tiny % of their way too high inflation already. Like you can actually capitalize on the services that you're offering. Okay. Do you guys have a grants program? It just opened up, I think. Yeah, we're sending out some MOUs right now, but we'll have some grants go live as soon as we go mainnet. Okay. Well, and I'm asking that one. So there's a couple things that I'm personally developing. I'm not, because I'm stupid, dude. I don't do this. I pay people to do this for me. Why should I put them on Archway? Why should I put them there and not somewhere else? If you want to just pursue a grant, you could probably get something bigger on Aptos. If you want to build something that lasts for more than 3 months, build it on Archway because they'll get perpetual funding from it.
No, no, and
or whatever else.
And this is what I'm trying to argue, and I've been arguing it on the videos, and I know you agree with me. You know what? I was going to do it, Bell. I was going to take a little tirade here. I'm not going to. We'll discuss it offline, sir. We're going to go ahead and let you carry on. Tell me what else makes Archway special? What makes it How about this? I'll give you a very specific example that's more fun. Why is Archway better than Juno?
Oh, man. Quite a list here. One, commoditizing block space. It's the second layer one that actually makes sense, and it's, in my opinion, better set up than Ethereum is, but Ethereum being the only other one that's properly set up from a business standpoint. Two, we solve the time problem. We're going to be the first blockchain, especially in the Cosmos ecosystem at least, where you don't have to do everything block-based. You'd be like, oh, we have an update at 7 p.m. Eastern, and it's just going to automatically happen. dApps and users can have things based on timestamps, not have to retroactively try to figure out what time different blocks happened. Super odd that that's still used. Cosmos had a governance proposal to change the estimated blocks per year because that's what controlled inflation parameters. So we solve all that. We actually have lower gas than the rest of Cosmos even can have, which makes us more scalable. They're going to have some really big changes and fixes from the dApp level. Have you heard of fee grants before?
Nope.
Okay. So fee grants have been built down into Cosmos for the last 3 years, and nobody's used them because we don't want to give away free money. But the idea of them is that you can set aside so much, say Arch, secret, whatever it is, and the users of your application can do however, use that for their gas for however much you'll let them. And so I'm building an AMM. From an AMM's perspective, I don't want somebody to have to go to a different centralized exchange or a different AMM to purchase Arch so that they have the opportunity, the right to use my product. That's just terrible business. And that's why groups like Osmosis went as their own layer one, so that they don't have to make that a thing. But with a fee grant, now somebody can go to Astrovault and buy Arch for the first time, and we'll actually cover the gas for them. The reason nobody does this is because that's an expense for them, but we actually get that Arch back because we get the 50% from the gas rebate, we get up to the other 50% back from inflation, and we can even charge premiums on it if we want to. So it's refillable, so we can perpetually onboard new users without them having to go and do this external thing and go get the gas token first. They can buy it first on our platform. That is absolutely huge.
Any chance? You know what? No, I'm not. It's a good idea, but again, we'll talk about it we can talk about it offline. All right, you said you're the lowest gas fees. Now this is a me thing. I don't know if it's an everybody thing. Gas fees in the Cosmos are almost irrelevant. So when you say low, and you know what I'm talking about, dude, it's pennies. So are you guys literally doing it for sub pennies? Is that where we're going to be on this?
No. It really, I guess it depends on if you're talking dollars, it would depend on the dollar price of the token. And some groups have opted to do zero gas, which means they definitively have zero revenue.
Yeah.
If anything was to scale, if any of these layer ones were to gain value, such as Ethereum did, then their gas fees would be high. If you translate Cosmos based gas fees to what they would be in Gwei, they would be really, really high.
Sure.
And we have more decimal places. Ours just go lower. And again, we have a similar to EIP 1559 setup where the price of gas is fluctuating based on the congestion of the chain. Nobody has anything like that, and nobody could.
Nobody could. How come nobody could?
Too many decimals. Changing the minimum price of gas to the next unit would be doubling the gas. So you're looking at a 100% price of gas change, at it already being a really high amount.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Right. So we're gonna keep the Archway thing going, man. But we're gonna get into a little bit of personal thing here because I like to do that with my guests because I'm not only investing in the product, I'm investing in everybody who works in it. I like to be familiar with them and see if we're ideologically aligned. And this is an unfair question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I will ask it. Are you a capitalist?
Sure. I'm an economic philosopher. That's a difficult question for me to answer. I know more about all the different systems than your average person.
I know. That's why I know about you, babe. You've been on the show before. We've talked offline, online, all that other good stuff. So that's why I think it's a fair question to ask. I asked the same question of Patrick from Jackal. Are you a capitalist?
I'll say yes with monetarism.
Everybody said the same thing, too, and that's the funny part, man. We always said yes because you can't really have 100% raw capitalism because it will just absolutely consume itself. There's always going to have to be capitalism by layers, but I think it's fair to ask the question. All right, Belle, do we have some questions lined up? Are we ready here, or should we take a 60-second break so you can get them in order?
We do have a few questions, actually. Just a few, but...
Do we want to do it, or do we want to take 60 seconds and let everybody catch their breath?
Let's go ahead and ask the questions, and then we'll take our 60 seconds once Eric answers. So, first question coming in from GSAM. How will Archway be better than any of its nearest competitors?
All of the competitors are absolutely terrible. Everyone launched layer 1 because that's what VCs cared about, and VCs are just so far behind. Just putting it out there as it is. It's a lot better.
You know what? I'm gonna follow on to that question, Bill. I'll give it back to you in a second. Is there any L1 on Cosmos that you do like?
No.
Really? No. I mean, again, I'm going big. I want to make sure that you can see my face. So there is not a single L1 on Cosmos, none, that you actually approve of their model.
Their tokenomic model? No. There are chains that I like. I like Jackal. They have a real world product. I don't like their tokenomics. Several people have things that they can sell and they're not doing it. So that those ones that at least they have a product that they can sell, they have a hope to migrate. Most of them don't have anything that they can sell and they're just doomed. So it is the .com bubble. What comes from the great tech that is Cosmos will be fantastic. But I mean, Cosmos was founded on the idea of, hey, let's build brilliant software and give it away for free. That was the entire Atom model. Like that, shocking that doesn't make sense.
You notice we've had this conversation before, dude. That's why I wanted to do it, because it gets you passionate, man. All right, this is TV, babe. This ain't radio. All right, carry on, Belle.
EH, is Oho your oracle of choice?
I like Oho. Talked to him recently. I like what they're doing. They're not the only Oracle system. I'm sure we'll use multiple types of oracles. I like their innovation on. They're calling it historical, where it uses multiple blocks. I oppose the entire reason that had to be set up. The whole lending protocol is building out on auto-compounding staking derivatives. The reason for them, I think, is because things are currently being built up levels upon levels upon levels on complete fallacies. So the whole auto-compounding staking derivatives, I think, are all going to fail. Section 6 of my white paper, I go into the math behind why.
Anything else, Belle, or are we going to break?
Berms, when is Arch going live on Osmosis Frontier? Will it only pair up with Osmo at first?
No, of course not. Osmosis Frontier? What on Astrovault?
As it says right behind him. No, it's a fair question, man. Are you guys going to kiss the ring?
I don't know. I contribute with liquidity planning. There are people much higher than me that make big decisions.
Does Astrovault have its own token? Does Astrovault have his own token? Will you put Astrovault over on Frontier?
No.
No? How come?
Why are we going to pay people to use our competition? If they want it, they can come here. Why isn't Osmosis paying to get on like Binance and other exchanges? They're like, hey, if you want to use this, come here. So we're not. No.
I understand.
I'm not trying to send more people to Osmosis. I'm trying to rescue them from it.
Is that okay? You know what?
Have you seen Drake on Digital's video on is Osmosis slow rugging the Cosmos?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. And even in that, he was at least giving them credit of like, well, they may be having $500,000 a day in expenses, but at least they have $15,000 in revenue. That revenue is the LP's revenue. That's not their revenue. They have it was zero. Now it's MEV like $60 a day or something. Like they are not sustainable, and Cosmos needs to evolve past what happens when they do inevitably go to zero. Because right now they're going to drag everyone else down with them.
You know, and they will. Look, man, I own a lot of Osmo. I own a lot of Osmo because right now it is the thing. But I am well aware of the runway of Osmo. All right? It is not sustainable. The model is not sustainable. It will absolutely collapse on himself. But I have some time. So until then, I'm going to stay where I can earn, because that is where people are coming. That is where the swap fees are happening, and I provide liquidity, so that's my money. So yeah, I'm going to stay kind of where it is for now, unless after we come back from break, you can tell me why I should move my $1 million from Osmo over to Astrovault. And I promise you, if you make a good argument, that it'll happen. We'll live stream it, dude. We'll do it together. Won't that be fun? So with that, guys, we're going to take 60 seconds. We're going to compare some notes, and we will get back to you. Please get your questions in. because I'm not sure if Eric's ever going to come back again after this interview. But please get your questions in. The man is not shy. I love his opinion. He's the best guest that we have on this show. So, yeah, I always want to bring him back. Get him in. Make him know that you're interested. And we're going to be, if I can find the right click, we're going to be right back. One. Thank you. We had to compare some notes. Eric's going to give me a grant. He's not going to give me a grant, but we're going to come back here and we're going to talk about Astrovault, and Eric is going to tell us why Astrovault is better. Please get your questions in. You guys are investors. We're an investment channel. That's what we do here. Basically, you watch as I invest, and that's it, because I don't tell you how to spend your money. I don't have that kind of egotism. But with that, I'm always looking for an opportunity to take my money and turn it into more money. And I would love to do it under a sustainable model. Now, Eric has cracked the code, and we're going to find out why. So with that, Eric, why have you cracked the code, man? Tell me about Astrovault.
Yeah, I mean, I can't just say that, hey, osmosis isn't sustainable without offering some kind of alternative. And that's honestly where we were at when Ethan and I wanted to build, Ethan, my co-founder at Astrovault, wanted to build something bigger than DeFi has ever sustained. And we're running through some models and we're like, this is just going to absolutely destroy any AMM in its wake. And the reason being, AMMs have this same cycle where they print a token to bring in liquidity. They incentivize that pool higher, but it's called the death spiral pool, because then like the tokens doesn't have any value. There's no revenue backing it. Can I walk you through the history of Uniswap? Just like 30 seconds real quick?
Of course you can, dude. This is your show.
Uniswap, like their idea was, hey, we're going to take Coinbase, but we're going to decentralize it so we don't have to custody funds. That's what Satoshi wanted. And they're absolutely right. And they did it, but they took the 0.2% trade fee that went to the Coinbase team, and they gave that to the liquidity providers so that they'd provide liquidity. And now they're like, wait, but now we don't have any revenue. You know what? Let's launch a token. It governs things. Literally the entire AMM model has been built on, shoot, we don't have revenue. Let's throw a token out there. And that has been replicated and replicated for years. And shockingly, they don't pan out very well. It's amazing. So we need to build a type of AMM that has revenue. And the purpose, I told you I'm not just a capitalist, I really adhere to monetarism. The purpose of monetaristic inflation is to decentralize perpetual overhead. And we have really high inflation, really high monetaristic inflation, the Cosmos ecosystem, that is super, super like non-optimized, just going to stakers randomly, not even in a way that's actually securing the chain. Like it's just really poorly set up when it should be going to whatever costs they have. And one of the perpetual costs they have is liquidity provision. So we built a way where we can take the way they set it up and we can have that fund the liquidity provision that they need. So that someone asked, when are we going on Osmosis Frontier? I think the price to get on Osmosis Frontier is like $5,000. If you want to be featured on Osmosis the way Axelar was, you have to pay like $1 million to be featured for 6 months to be paired against the Osmo token, which we know has like a shelf life of maybe a couple more years. Mm-hmm. Whereas on Astrovault, you can pay $0 out of pocket, still get APR featured outside of your own token, and be paired against whatever you want. You want to be paired against Archway? You got it. You want to be paired against Atom? You got it. We're not forcing our token in there to try to pretend like it has value. We're not trying to leech ourselves onto the rest of the ecosystem so we can have a Mexican standoff as we start like rugging.
As you start rugging. Why would you use that word? Why would you say rugging? You have a specific example in mind, dude. I saw you roll your eyes. What is the specific example you had in mind? Don't say Juno Swap. We all saw that one coming. Say something else.
You say we all saw it coming, but people didn't back then.
How
And
can you
when
not?
us,
Honest to God, man, I made
that's how I
videos.
feel about osmosis. How do they pay their team when they're out of tokens? MEV, like, is the MEV going to stakers? Is it going to liquidity providers? Is it going to the team? Like, who is this imaginary money that's really hard, like not nearly enough? Who is this going to? Why do people hold the token? How do the developers get paid? Because if they're not getting paid and there's no means for them to, then like what's the point? And if they're like, oh well, they don't have to hold to the cap because by the way, their max cap is not coded in. They have to vote to lower it every single time. Oh well, they just want to adhere to the cap. Well, now you recognize that, oh, we're not getting in early on something with a fixed cap. We have something that's perpetually inflationary because we cannot figure out a sustainable business model. And that is the truth.
So
Maybe
you're
they fix it, maybe they don't.
So you're, and no, I mean, you're absolutely right, dude. I'm not doing this just to pile on and say, oh, look, man, me and Eric think the same way. It's effectively every dex out here, and it's particular to dexes on the Cosmos. I mean, you saw that one worked, so it was just replicated over and over and over and over and over, but it still has the same fundamental flaw. I am a big fan of a dex that doesn't have a dex token, but I can't invest in one because one doesn't exist. I want one that simply exists from swap fees, from trade fees, from gas, from all the other, from the tax that I pay when I buy a burrito. That's what I want out of a DEX. Are you saying that Astrovault is it?
No, it's way more efficient than that.
Okay, tell me how.
Okay.
I'm your customer, dude. All right, I'm your 7-figure plus investor. Tell me why.
The issue with your model of where you just get part of those fees is you have to be the liquidity provider. And you have to provide a ton of liquidity in order for volume to actually get there. Mm-hmm. And the amount of rewards you get is based on volume divided by liquidity. If you see people comparing AMMs, they're like, oh, well, this one has more liquidity. Let's compare liquidity to market cap. No one's comparing revenue. Oh, $0 compared to $0 compared to $0. And really, liquidity is a negative metric that is needed to get volume. That's where you're seeing this push for concentrated liquidity. People are realizing it doesn't make sense. Uniswap gets by not because they have 5 billion in liquidity, because they have 1 billion in daily trade volume. They actually have very low amount of liquidity compared to how much daily trade volume they have. So if you were to get that, not only can you not invest in it, but like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Where do you get the liquidity from? Where do you get the volume from? And and even then, even Uniswap does not own any of its liquidity. It can leave at any time as soon as anyone offers a higher APR. So what happens is we need to solve the problem of long-term liquidity. And we are the first ones to have protocol earned liquidity. So what we are doing is we're earning not only revenue from our trade volume, we keep 100% of the trade volume. Uniswap keeps 0. Osmosis keeps 0. We keep 100%. Well, then why would people liquidity provide? To earn our token. Well, what's special about our token? We have more governance power than anyone else. Stake our token to earn Atom. Stake our token to earn Jackal. Stake our token to earn Arch. Stake our token to vote on Jackal, Atom, Arch proposals. Our DAO actually has governance control in the other protocols, and that most of the staking rewards that we're earning are going to protocol-owned liquidity. So we get Jackal staking rewards. We get Archway staking rewards. And then we take them and we pool them together in the Jackal Arch pair. So now the liquidity is building and building over time. Eventually, we get rid of our token emissions, and like, oh, well, then you'll lose all your liquidity. Like the APRs go to 0. The APRs would go to 0 if we turn off our inflation, and we'll turn it off because we don't care, because we'll have our DAO will own $1 billion+ of its own liquidity, which is still building on top of itself. The end play isn't perpetually incentivizing external liquidity. The end play is being the perpetual liquidity.
All right, so there's a couple of dexes just off the top of my head, man. Look, I didn't research this, dude. You know we don't script, all right? We just kind of go off the... but there's a couple of dexes that are doing something similar to what you just described there. One of them is Archway. Do you know the Archway dex? It's a little unknown little nugget of a tiny little dying AI chain, but they will reward you as part of your liquidity. Rewards is Archway X, which is their version of kind of what you were just talking about. Now, Diffusion did something similar in I can't remember the name of that token. That thing tanked, I mean, horribly. Like, it was almost embarrassing what happened to it. But they did something similar. I think it was Diff. But they kind of did something similar, meaning as part of your rewards, you received X, Y, and Z rewards plus Diff plus Archway X. And it sounds like you guys are doing something kind of similar. So please tell me why you're different.
I haven't seen Archway, but how much are they earning for their token holders?
Oh, I don't know, probably crap.
My guess is 0. And so we've seen this of like, oh, well, real yield. And now in this pair, you're earning 3 different tokens that all earn 0 revenue. And that, like,
Yeah.
that's not like what you see Stride. Like, oh, okay, great. So now you have an auto compounding derivative, which is just like a pretty simple smart contract, but they take some of your staking rewards, but then they'll also give you the Stride token, which what does that do? Well, it gives you access to some of the staking rewards that we're taking from over here. It's like, why are we going to use the staking protocol that takes your rewards when other ones that don't have a token don't do that? And then you have the issue of like, what if there's eventually like an issue where the Stride team can't get funding, and then there's another Mexican standoff where they're like, well, now I can lock your contract. You guys can't pull out your original assets unless you pay us. And eventually, like, this is the kind of thing that Jaquan's worried about. Plus, eventually, like, incentivizing people to slash. Like, it is risky. It is weird. Somebody in the chat was talking about UMI. Like, it doesn't work for lending protocols with the idea that the price of their auto compounding assets is always perpetually lower. Again, section 6 of my white paper. And it's just a whole bunch of fake tokens that don't earn anything. We want one token that does.
Okay, and you know, I love where you're going on Stride. See, I don't know if you know this about. I'm going to go even put you in the little screen over here, Eric, so that everybody can see my face. I don't like Stride. Don't care for it. Don't like the model. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't like what they're doing. It's money games. I hate money games. Hate money games. Sometimes a business should just be, I want to look at naked girls and I'll pay you $8 a month to do that. That's what sometimes a business should just be that. But as the blockchain over here, or I'm sorry, as the Cosmos develops more, people are getting cuter and cuter and cuter with money games. None of them are sustainable. And the tough part for me as an opinion editorial person that operates in the Cosmos is that thou shalt speak no ill of the Cosmos. You just can't. As soon as you do, bam, that's it. Blacklist, down you go. And I've never spoken positively about Stride because as soon as it didn't make any sense to me. And once it started to make sense to me, I was like, oh, this is doom, absolute doom. So I want to thank you for bringing it up and being the bad guy so I didn't have to. So everybody, round of applause for Eric on that one. All right, man. I want to finish up. I'd love to finish up the whole interview on Archway, but you know what? You got me intrigued on Astrovault. Why are your eyebrows going down, dude? You seem angry. Are you angry?
Just checking the chat. So something
are you sure? You seem angry.
I'm always angry. That's my secret. I'm the Hulk.
Is that it, man? You're the super Eric? All right. So I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to give you a break here and turn it over to the audience. Belle, you know what that means. Please take it away. I'm going on mute, and I'm going to drink.
Speaking on staking derivatives, do you think that'll be the thing that sinks UMI?
I don't know. I think UMI can recover. I think it's well set up. Again, I really do like them and the OHO team. I just think the current direction, they're going where the demand is. And I think where the demand is going is building a paper card house. And when we set things back up, like there are lending protocols right now building out on top of us, like us being Astrovault, that just function far more efficiently than something that uses auto compounding derivatives can, much safer than something that using auto compounding derivatives can. So as long as those are a cancer, a thorn in our side, that people are trying to force this narrative that just does not make economic sense, I think that they're going to be really a limited ceiling.
Okay. ThePodocasts, can you explain how Astrovault differs from Quicksilver, Supernova, etc.? And yeah, I'm trying to choke back a laugh with that one.
I will not. That is funny. Well done. Round of applause. We're a great channel, dude. You know it. You should spend more time here. Go.
So Quicksilver is similar to Stride, auto compounding staking derivative platform where they try to do all your derivatives, which again, pretty simple smart contracts. We consider auto compounding derivatives at Astrovault a kind of an indirect competition, and that what we're trying to do bypasses the need for that, and is just a different model from the ground up. But we are not offering any type of staking derivative that goes beyond our own platform. Instead, we're trying to set something up so that other applications all make non-auto compounding staking derivatives so that everyone can earn revenue through their liquidity and have to use Astrovault to redeem them. From Supernova, they're actually kind of similar to what we're trying to do, but using auto compounding derivatives, which again, there's just an insurmountable premium on liquidity. If you ever think institutional money is going to get involved in DeFi in any meaningful way, auto compounding derivatives are unusable. If you follow Silvergate, actually losing all of their money since 2014 by selling T-bills at like 9-10% underneath the purchasing price because the interest rates went up. That is exactly what I'm talking about with auto compounding derivatives, where you have this premium on liquidity. If you need liquidity, you cannot sell it for what it's worth. Everyone's like, oh, but arbitrage will keep it up. I go through the math in section 6 of my white paper. Arbitrage does not do what you guys think it's going to do. I literally added a section in the white paper just because I was so frustrated by people not understanding the math behind it. So the best it's going to be is like 2 to 3% underneath the actual value, and I don't want to lose 3% every time I sell a token. And that's literally the best it's going to be.
Hey, Berms, let me follow up with when Astrovault then.
When Astrovault, day 1 of Archway. So the question then is when Archway, and I'm being told Q2, so within the next couple months.
Okay. EH, and would Archway have any plans to offer lending?
So
please say no.
I'm familiar with applications being built out on Archway that will offer lending. The layer 1 protocol itself isn't biased, like not even towards Astrovault. They're doing their own thing. Astrovault, other AMMs, like anybody can build whatever they want to. It is an general purpose layer 1 that's just way better designed than other general purpose layer 1s. So don't hear what I'm saying like, oh, this guy's a jerk, like Archway's mean. Like, no, Archway's great. I'm just the jerk.
Look at him already trying to own it. Come on, Eric. Please, just own it, man. Just say, you know what? Give him the finger. You're on the pot. We're streaming from Croatia, man. All right? No one's going to take you down out here. Go, Bell.
EH, as much as I love the end of Osmo AMMs, how do you expect to attract the end user? We've seen many Atom chains try and bring in users, but the users are totally not interested. How does Archway plan to tackle the Giga Sheep Osmo enjoyer?
So 2 ways to do this. 1, end users chase APRs. Our token makes way more sense than the Osmo token, so I assume eventually at some way, shape, or form, our APRs will eventually be higher. 2, primarily, we will attract traders by getting the most liquidity. Why will we get more liquidity? Because they don't want to pay $1 million to be featured for 6 months on Osmosis. They don't want to pay $40,000 a month for their market makers on a centralized exchange for a listing that also costs $80,000. Like these layer 1 teams that are already struggling to get cash cannot afford to get this liquidity services that they so desperately need. They can only afford to do it by us. And the reason that the Osmosis and these other teams can't compete is because they don't make any revenue. We can offer so many better services and so much more for groups just because we have an actual business model.
Okay. Robbie, what don't you like about the tokenomics of Jackal?
That's a great question. And I love Jackal. I love the team. I love the protocol. And I do think that they are going to really succeed long term. So I guess I wasn't really properly thinking them as layer 1 originally when I was saying like I'm not a huge fan of layer 1s. They're not a general purpose layer 1 the same way something like Archway is. In fact, they're actually going to build some cool things on Archway. So we will have some nice collaborations with Jackal in the future. Right now, their inflation is very high, but again, it is temporary. And I don't like that they have a max cap. In general, I'm not a fan of max caps of any kind because it forces a shelf life. And if you did something more organic, like a perpetual lower inflation and counteract it with deflation, or just routinely like lower it, you can reach a max supply at the right time. But theoretically, it's always more efficient to have some level of monetaristic inflation because as you have monetaristic inflation, you can perpetually decentralize overhead. And as soon as you do cut that off, now the centralized team is going to have higher bills because now what they have to pay validators or now they have to pay for liquidity and this comes out of pocket. In some way, shape, or form, the users are going to feel that, but it's most efficient if they feel it through dilution.
All right, that was it for now.
All right, so should Scott take it back here, Eric? You ready to have a go, man, or do you want to take 60 seconds and gather your thoughts?
I don't gather thoughts. I don't have them.
Yeah, you don't have them. So what I really wanted right at this very moment, because, I kind of knew where you're on in this. It was to have Emery on here so you guys could have this discussion and I could just referee. That's what I wanted. I wanted that more than anything else, but it didn't work out. Emery had internet issues. So I kind of have the rub of what's going on Archway. All right, I do. I get it, man. Look, I like it. I think you guys are going to be, I think they're going to do absolutely great things. I think that my fundamental concerns are still not as addressed, and I'm sure you heard my monologue, and I'm pretty sure that you have those same concerns. So right now it's a lot of hope. It's a lot of hoping people are built, meaning we have a lot of financial products over here in the Cosmos. Do you agree or disagree with that? That primarily most of what we have here are just purely financial products. Am I off base here?
I agree.
Okay. So with a ton of financial products, but no capital that is actively making its way into the Cosmos, which is a fact, we're effectively just pushing money around the board. This is true. This is what we are doing. And we still have these core teams that have to get paid. We still have validators that have to get paid. We still have all these people that have to get paid, but we're not attracting new customers. This is important. This is critical. This is a fundamental fucking flaw. Oh, God, I swore, didn't I? You know what? I'm in Croatia. I can do what I want. This is a fundamental flaw of not just Cosmos, but pretty much almost effectively your top 25 chains that are going on over here is the fact that they are either purely speculative, as is primarily happening in here in the Cosmos, and two, we're not attracting new money. It's just not coming. All right? I'm absolutely right on this. So I'm not going to back off my position that we need a different thing. What I'm asking, are you drinking booze? Because if you're not drinking booze, dude, I'm going to be very disappointed. We talked about this. I said you could get hammered.
My wife told me no.
Oh, I'm disappointed, man. Come on. We don't get a big crowd. How are you going to attract the customers? No, I'm not asking from your model. I like your model. I think you're onto something, man. I thought you were onto something with Hydro. I think you got a raw deal on CFI. That was unfortunate, but I think you're onto something with this. So what I'm saying is, how are people, and this is what, for some reason, we never discussed this. How are people even going to know about Astrovault? How are you going to attract customers? Before I move hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars over there, I want to know I'm not the only guy. So how are you going to attract customers to Astrovault?
Great question. There's efficiency and specialization. At Astrovault, we are going to offer the best, the most services for trading, and the cheapest and most affordable and best services for market making. So we offer services that we sell and decentralize the payments for to these layer ones. The innovation that you're talking about is going to be from these new layer ones, these other people that come out with their ideas. You've got Loyal coming out with like loyalty programs, and they have a great background in doing like point systems for these different companies, and they're building it out directly in Web3, and they have their own layer one. Well, they need liquidity hosted. They're going to come to Astrovault. You have groups like Jackal. Like Jackal, they incentivize them to pair against Osmosis, so they're stuck against the Osmo token. They're paying for it with Jackal inflation, while the Osmosis team's talking bad about them on Twitter. Jackal deserves way better than that, and they can do that, and they're not getting Osmosis rewards. Well, they would get AXV rewards, and not have to be paired against Osmosis. They can be paired against Archway or Atom on Astrovault. So we just make sense from a business perspective. That's how we get customers. How you get more money into the Cosmos is from other teams going out and building these layer ones that get actual usage. I had a conversation with the marketing team from Archway today, and they're asking me my thoughts on like the short-term and the long-term vision. I'm like, short-term, target Cosmos, target Polkadot, target people that understand Rust. Mid-term, you need to start building out all the tooling to connect all the Web2 customers, all the real developers that are working in real businesses, not our little funnel chamber that's, you said you like capitalism, but casino capitalism, where no projects ever get built and everything's purely on speculation. And then the long-term vision is to connect to all of these Web2 protocols, the Canvas, the SaaSs of the world, and have all of the wallets, have everything else abstracted. Alter does a pretty good job of that, but way better, where you're on Steam and you don't even know you're earning NFTs until you choose a checkout, but have Archway be the connection to these real businesses behind the scenes. And we can build up that tooling, but nobody's built something sustainable enough to look far enough ahead. They just like, oh, we'll get there someday. But right now we just need to pursue that next grant because we don't make any revenue from our project.
Yes, sir. And I agree with you. I agree with every word that you said there. But a year from now, it's too late. A year from now, there's Astrovault 2. Somebody else is going to mock you. As soon as you know that it works, somebody's going to clone you. It will absolutely happen. So what I'm asking is, until this very moment, and I'm going to ask my audience, until this very moment, have you heard of Astrovault? And I'm going to ask my audience. We'll see the chat, and we'll see what comes of this. So I'm an opinion editorial channel, all right? I talk about products that I really, really like. I haven't talked about Astrovault because until you and I texted, I didn't even know about Astrovault. So where I'm saying is crypto moves fast, and you and I know that you and I agree on that. Crypto moves very, very fast. What is your marketing strategy for Astrovault? For some reason, nobody talks about this. It is critical, particularly because your product is your customer. How are you going to get them?
Yeah. We have open comms and good relations with a bunch of the layer ones. So we're talking to them about liquidity. A lot of layer ones exist that you can't find on Osmosis because they couldn't afford it. And they need our services and they're willing to wait. Axelar largely regrets not waiting. They're like, man, that would have saved a ton of money. $1 million in rewards over 6 months.
I know they paid. Oh, Axelar.
Like that sucks.
They got hammered.
Yeah, we largely, I mean, I've been on here before from Secret, so we've largely been under the scenes because we've been licking our wounds from what happened to us there. And sorry for anyone who got hurt. We did as well. We recovered, we regrouped, we moved, and we changed and adapted. And Archway is better. So we're regrouping, we're going strong, and no one knows about Archway yet. So you're talking about Astrovault. Archway raised $21 million like a year ago, and people haven't even heard of them. So we're getting ready for Archway to come on the scene in a major way. Get ready for your airdrops. Get ready to start hearing all of what we've been building about behind the scenes. Get ready for like 40-page econ paper to be published. And as Archway then gets pitched, it's then like, well, then what can you do on it? And then we start rolling out all of these dApps, Astrovault, the NFT/DAO tooling marketplace that I was telling you about. And there's quite a bit more that's being built out. And you start hearing all these partnerships that we've kept under wraps so far. Stable coins that are now finally profitable because you earn perpetually whenever somebody spends your dollar. Like that's just built into the protocol. A lot of stuff that everyone wants to work will finally make sense on Archway. And they still have like 17 million out of that $21 million. So I see it in the chat. They're like, how much runway does Archway have? Archway has over 2 years runway. And they recognize, like, you guys don't really know how bad it is in crypto right now. 95% of teams have less than 6 months runway, and nobody's writing checks because the VCs have to make LP calls to their individual LPs. And everyone's like, oh, crypto is a scam. Look what happened with FTX. I'm not doing any money. So VCs are broke. So they can't refund and do these OTC deals that like groups like Osmosis have survived on for the last several years. And so these teams are running out of capital. So you're seeing massive amounts of layoffs. And now these teams have to actually start selling these tokens. So you're going to see a lot more rugs in the next 6 to 8 months. And as that happens, like say entire layer ones, entire ecosystems go under, Archway is positioned to be like, hey, you guys need funding. It's built into the code. Relaunch your app over here. And not only can we maybe give you some upfront funding and some grants or even some Web 2 type loans, like some traditional banking type loans, which is possible by transitioning and earning the rewards from the dApp by giving upfront funding. So cool things at play there. But now we'll give you a bed with support to transition your app, a stable place to launch.
Okay. If this was anybody else I was interviewing right now, I wouldn't ask these next two questions. But I know you're a pro, and I know you can handle it, so I'm going to ask them. What's the lock-in periods on Astrovault?
Lock-in periods? What do you mean?
If I provide liquidity, let's say I pair your token in USDC.
Why are there lock-in periods?
And that's and you answered that question correctly. Now the next question, this one's more of a me thing than an anyone else thing. Do you have any plans to add an order book?
Yeah.
Do you?
It will not be live on day one, but yes, the person that built most of the order book on Secret Network is our one of our senior contract developers.
Okay, so you will have an order book, and will you be implementing advanced trader tools, stop loss, fill kills, stop limits, all that other good stuff?
That will take more time, but it is on our roadmap. So
okay.
We're looking at a launch for us in Q2, an order book probably, I don't want to estimate too early, but probably Q4 or Q1 2024. And then these more advanced tools should be rolling out later part of 2024, early 2025.
Okay, because the only reason I mention it is because I've been talking about this for a good year and a half now, is that there are very minimum viable standards that I require for me to provide liquidity. Now, I'm stuck on Osmosis in lock-in periods because they are very 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and there's nothing I can do about it. So if I want to get the swap fees, I got to go where the customers are. This is where the customers are, but it's not my preference. My preference is actually Crescent. Now, I don't like what they're doing. I don't like the liquid staking. I don't care for any of that stuff. I think it's money games. I don't like it. But I like the order book. I like the no lock-ins. And I like the fact that the market is exceptionally volatile right now. And I'm pretty sure you can agree with that, man. Dude, we are up. We are down. It is madness out here. I cannot lock in my money. I just can't do it. As soon as I lock it in, man, I'm a slave to the next 14 days, and I refuse to do that. So one of the minimum viable standards for me for a DEX is no lock-in periods. I need my money to remain as liquid as I possibly can. Now, I don't take advantage of arbitrage opportunities, but if I did, I'd want those arbitrage opportunities to happen on the DEX that I exist on so that I can move from pool to pool to pool if I chose to chase these micro percents. I like to be able to have that opportunity. So what you're telling me is that I do have that opportunity on Astrovault.
You can do all kinds of arbitrage, all kinds of cool stuff like that, yes. And you have full control of your funds, and there's no random 2-week lockup period. The only potential lockup period is if you're in the zero and permanent loss pools, the plasma pools, where it's like Arch versus X Arch, and you can supply either side and withdraw either side. There is a 10-day soft lockup period where if you want your funds immediately, you'd pay a 1% fee, or you can wait 10 days and not take a fee. But there's always the option for no fee, and that is to protect from one of the types of attack vectors. What we're doing is risky and weird, and so we had to try to break it from every possible way, and there's a way to bend it to the point where it's a little bit less usable if we don't add that feature.
And you were playing around with a little bit of that on CFI, right? You were at least entertaining that idea?
When we were building out what was going to be Hydro Finance, there were some similar things.
Okay, great. Belle, any questions, or are me and Eric just going to finish this up?
Oh, yeah, we've got questions.
Okay, dude, as soon as we start talking about DEXs, man, everybody gets excited. Belle, take it away, please.
Makoka to Streamwalker, where do you see Astrovault in 5 years? Customers, regulatory valuation, public company, USA-based?
Astrovault is not USA-based. At all. I am a citizen of the United States. I work for a C Corp that's based in Delaware. Like Astrovault, the AXB token and whatnot is launched overseas. Most of the team is overseas. The US sucks, but we're very focused on being regulatory compliant. We are building in regulatory compliance software directly into our protocol. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. In 5 years, I see us being, that's a long enough road to say that I think that we will be the number one AMM in the entire Web3. If not, then I think it'll be somebody that's using our model. So I believe that we'll be able to get enough of a first mover advantage, and the Cosmos tech is good enough that I think that this will be where innovation comes from. But if it is something like Ethereum, and if it were to be Uniswap still as the primary DEX, then it would be using a lot of our features, and it will have reverse engineered a lot of what we built.
Fun. Carry on, Belle.
Osmo talking that shit to Jackal? What?
Yeah, and it wasn't the whole Osmosis team, but it was definitely some of the people on Osmosis. They were. It was when the Gadikian drama was going down, and there were some potential risks that weren't as bad as they were made seem. And somebody from the team just came out and was this is fully a rug. They're incentivizing liquidity on us without even having a working product. We know what's going to happen, and wouldn't listen to any reason from anyone like myself. Hey, no, this is a good and established team that's building a real world thing. They had these few issues, and they were largely issues with the audit firm that they had hired, which they're resolving. But every team has to pay for liquidity in some way, shape, or form, and you're just at least they're doing it on you. They're pairing against your token. It was very odd, and I would have liked to see him be reprimanded or have the back of his hand slapped with a ruler a bit more publicly.
Yeah, babe, that is never going to happen over here. Thou shalt speak no ill of Cosmos anything. Carry on, Belle.
Makoka to Streamwalker, how can you have an order book without slippage?
That's a good question. It likely will have slippage tolerance. So again, Astrovault, the AMM, will have slippage, just only in the nebula pools, not in the plasma pools. So there's separation there. And order books will basically be running constant queries and will be trading again against and with the nebula pools until we build out. We're working on several other types of pools that will route similarly as well. A lot of people don't like the X times Y equals K constant product market. Unfortunately, for risk reasons, I'm very risk averse. There is huge risk having default liquidity being concentrated liquidity. Now you're going to experience the worst kinds of rugs. So you need the X times Y equals K first. If somebody else, if we're trading in tokens that already have very established X times Y equals K liquidity elsewhere, then we can, and it's a place that we trust, we can move on to more concentrated liquidity types, which we will roll out as well.
Okay. G Torres, will Archway have any privacy features?
Great question. The protocol itself, I do not believe so. There are applications building out means of obfuscation and different privacy types for different things. Also, I didn't really mention where Archway's aiming to be. If we think Web3 is going to take over, then even being able to process 10 times as many transactions or more as Ethereum is not nearly enough. We have IBC. We want Archway to be the user interface for all of the Cosmos ecosystem. If you want to do something on Secret, if you want to do something on Jackal, you access it from Archway through our nice mobile wallet app, where all the other applications will be inside of that one single app. And you'll instigate the transaction. The developers will get paid, so it's a monetizable door. And then you can send through IBC and whatnot and have the transactions take place elsewhere. So now you can access Secret Network to use privacy features, but doing it from Archway. Again, that would be an app that's on Secret, that's accessed from Archway. But as IBC gets better, we might see some better types of overlap. And I'm really excited for what Noma is building out for privacy.
Awesome. So from your wordage before, you made it sound like you dislike sex listings and would never pay for them. Is Archway going to stay off the Coinbase's, Binance's, KuCoins?
Great question. Archway raised $21 million. They have a lot of VCs. I think they're in more rounds right now. They have far more runway than I think they've even said that some of their feedback from their VCs is that they have more runway than any of the other projects that they're invested in, that they're the most economically conservative. They're doing well. They're very well positioned for the turmoil that has taken place and that we're still expecting over the next year. So I'm sure that they'll probably get some kind of centralized exchange listing of some kind. If they did want to eventually be like, right now, Atom's purpose in the Cosmos ecosystem is as the fiat gateway for everything in the Cosmos ecosystem. As Osmosis and other ones try to make a play for that, kind of nullifying Atom's real usefulness other than like drama, then we're going to need something to be that fiat gateway. Astrovault is not set up to be that token. That's not their purpose. So I think eventually Archway is much more likely to get more significant centralized exchange listings. I don't know about them, and I'm not saying anything about them.
Makoka to Streamwalker, if you're successful, Gary Gensler will be calling.
Oh, man,
should I just keep going here? Should I actually explain that they are a regulatory enforcement agency and that they don't actually make law? Should I continue to actually point out the fallacy of everybody losing their fucking mind over Gary Gensler? He doesn't make law. He is a regulatory enforcement agency, and they don't even write the damn regulations. Should I keep going? You know what? Bell, carry on. Nope, because I'm going to get political here.
Are you ready to butt heads with the Osmosis? I'm sure they will go out of their way to FTX IBC lobby against y'all.
Yeah, if that's how they want to spend their last couple of years, go for it.
That was actually the last question.
All right, should I get back into this?
Eric's sitting there going, "Oh, thank God."
Oh no, man, dude! You know we got a smart audience here, Garrick. Eric, you've been on the show before, man, and they always hammer you away. I had no problem with it because I know that you're a prepared guy. You know your product. You know what you're talking about. So I knew it was going to be a fun interview. I'm going to go. I'll tell you what. You know what? I was going to do it, but I'm going to let Eric have the last word. Sir, we are over time. I'd be happy to sit here and just talk this stuff with you for hours, babe. And you're always welcome back on the show anytime you got something you want to say. I would really love to have you back on one time and we just talk economic philosophy. Because we always talk about products. We always talk about this or that or how X is better than Y. And we never really get to the root of why X is better than Y, and that's what I really like to discuss. That's kind of the focus of our channel is on education. So, if you'd be willing, dude, I'd like to have you back, and we don't talk about Astrovault. We don't talk about Archway. We talk about Giffen goods. We talk about greater fool theory. We talk about velocity of money. This stuff matters, even though we live in this little crypto bubble where we pretend it doesn't. It absolutely does. It's absolutely important, and I just really enjoy your passion. So would you be willing to come on here and actually not talk about a product, meaning you're giving up an hour of your time? I
would much prefer it.
Okay, when would you like to do this? You knew I was going to stick it.
Whenever, dude. You have a great show and you have the best audience. I always look them up.
Well, Is there something else I could help with, Eric?
Darn you, Siri.
All right, babe. I'm putting you big screen, Eric. You get 30, 60, 90, whatever you want, man. Talk Archway, talk Astrovault. This is the closing segment, babe, so it's all yours. I'm going on mute.
Thank you, bro. Guys, check out Archway, archway.io, revolutionizing how layer ones work, where anyone can build anything and work for themselves. That was the idea of Ethereum with being decentralized, but you have to pay Ethereum to use them. And as it gets bigger and bigger, you're getting the rich cats richer and richer without benefiting yourself. Anyone can work for themselves on Archway permissionlessly. It is the future of layer ones. It's the only other good one I know of right now. So do check them out. As far as Astrovault goes, you guys are using osmosis. You guys are using other swaps. I hate being the bearer of bad news, but you guys know that they're not built up to succeed. And so we're trying to do the first one that is actually sustainable. Come check us out. We'll open up our test net next month. So please come on, check it out. We'll throw you guys some AXB to help find some bugs and whatnot, and use us when we go out. If you've been staking Atom, and we'll roll out the other some bridges uses and whatnot. We'll roll out some other ways to get the Archway airdrop. But when you get your Archway airdrop, come LP on Astrovault. If you do, you'll earn an Astrovault airdrop too. So we're as everything else is feeling really frustrating, and we're in the kind of dull section of a bear market where things will go kind of sideways for the next year or so, unless they crash. Hopefully they don't. We're going to make things interesting again. And now is the time for builders to build. Archway is equipped to build for the next several years. Astrovault is positioned very well. A lot of the other dApps that are coming out, NFT type stuff, if you guys are interested, is going to be really cool. So please come join our community and lead it. We need you guys, the most active community of any podcast I've been a part of. Oh God. You're from the Midwest. I don't know if I could drink with you, man.
and Scott,
I have been muted the entire time, but Eric heard me. That's what matters. I said we're going to do a drinking game next time Eric's on, and anytime somebody says builders are building or coming soon, we're taking a shot. This is what's going to happen. And guys, 45 minutes into this, we're both going to be under the table, just like grabbing the microphone, trying to talk up into it. It's going to be a great show. Hope you guys got your questions answered, man. I knew that this was going to be a wide-ranging interview. That's why we love having Eric on the show. We're going to have him back. I think they're on to something here. And I'm not telling you to commit your money. I'm telling you that I very well may. But I'm moving kind of some volume, so I'm going to get some personal time with Eric before I do that. I like what they got going on. All right. And it is... As I've mentioned on the show from time to time, I'm a pragmatist, all right? I deal with the market the way the market is presented at this time, but I'm always looking for the next big thing. I'm always looking for the next opportunity. But the biggest thing is that I'm looking for a true fire and forget, because I'm tired, guys. I am tired of staring at charts. I'm tired of second guessing. I'm tired of spending all of my time analyzing this stuff, and I'm looking for a true fire and forget. Have we found one here? Time's gonna, time will bear out the truth of that. But I like what I'm hearing. I like what I've been hearing. I like the hydro model from the way back. So maybe. I'm just gonna leave it there and say that that's gonna be a maybe. But we're gonna have we'll have Eric back as often as he wants, guys. We've changed the format of the show. If we're doing DeFi, we want to talk to DeFi. That's it. We want people on that are builders are building. Eric, that's a shot. We're ready for the next iteration, because the current iteration that we're in has got a shelf life, and if we don't correct it, there's not going to be anything left. And it is what it is. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I think you guys all kind of know it. So anyway, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Hope you got your questions answered. You guys know all the rub here. Going to turn it over to Belle. She's going to talk us up. She's going to talk us out. Belle, big screen. It's all you. It's Eric right now, but as soon as you talk, it's you. Take us out of here.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who joined us tonight, we cannot thank you guys enough. We enjoy Eric coming on. Thank you, Eric, for being here with us tonight. We enjoy having him on. He's one that's on my list of, okay, welcome back anytime, people. He's just freaking awesome. Anyway, now with that being said, guys, we are going to be back on Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Keep those amazing comments and questions coming. They keep us on our toes. They make us think. They throw both Eric and Scott off, which amuses me. So, yeah, definitely keep the amusement coming my way. Now, if you guys have any more questions for either Scott, Eric, or myself, you can definitely email those over to scott@thepodcast.com or bella@thepodcast.com. And any questions for Eric, I'll get those over to him. Again, we cannot thank each and every one of you guys enough, and we will see you on Saturday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.